Fred Weir, it's interesting how Donald Trump has been talking about ending the war and marching towards peace. But while on one hand he's talking to Russia directly and holding those negotiations to end the war, on the other hand, there was a question that was asked to him at a press conference recently as to what will Ukraine get in return of this mineral wealth deal. And his answer was they're going to get military aid, $350 billion of military aid to Ukraine. Are you concerned with that? Would Russia, would Putin, be concerned with saying something and doing something else on part of Donald Trump?
I think the Russians, having had 4 years of experience with Donald Trump in the White House before, are very leery of getting in bed with him. And their expectations are low. I have to say that the mood in Moscow really is that they will continue the war for as long as it takes to get what they want. If Trump comes up with some...
All right, Fred, give me a moment. I'll come back to you. Yep. I just want to tell our viewers that those are live visuals coming out of Washington, D.C. There you can see that big moment where Donald Trump has met with Volodymyr Zelensky, the Ukrainian president, that meeting happening, Donald Trump coming outside to welcoming him. And there you can see the two leaders, that big meeting, and Donald Trump's standard fist bump into the air while welcoming Volodymyr Zelensky with a handshake. And now that big meeting is underway, ladies and gentlemen, something that not just America, Ukraine and Russia are talking about, but the entire world has its eyes on what transpires in that meeting, what comes off that negotiations between America and Ukraine. Right now, as we speak, ladies and gentlemen, those visuals from Washington, D.C., where Donald Trump had come out to welcome Volodymyr Zelensky, and the two leaders are now holding a meeting there. All right, let's get back to our discussion. Fred Weir, please continue.
The Russians have a few simple things that they want, and Putin keeps referring to the abortive agreement that was near to being sealed back in March, April 22, and its very basic stipulations were that Ukraine must be neutral, that is, no joining NATO. Secondly, that it must be substantially demilitarized. And they were arguing about the numbers back and forth, but serious demilitarization of Ukraine. And third, there had to be language rights, Russian language rights for ethnic Russians and Russian speakers in eastern Ukraine. So those are still, as far as I can tell from what Putin says, those are still their red lines. That's what they insist upon. Plus, after 3 years of war and a very high price in blood, they will want to annex those 4 territories that they've already effectively annexed and under Russian law made part of Russia. So, and there will be some other back and forth, I'm sure, but the Russians will insist on that. And in return, they will let there be an independent Ukraine as long as it's sort of Finlandized. And last week, they even reiterated that it could join the EU if it wanted to. So the Russians have some kind of long-term plan, which doesn't involve occupying Ukraine or restoring the Soviet Union or anything. It's sort of a neo-colonial setup, I guess, where Ukraine is nominally independent, but part of the Russian sphere of influence. And nothing else matters if Trump and Putin agree on this. If those two get on the same page and say, okay, this is how it will be pointless for Zelensky or the Europeans to oppose it. So let's just wait and see how it plays out. I personally have no idea what Trump is up to. Really, I don't.